Here are the video solutions for Pearson Edexcel Functional Skills Maths Level 2. This is section A, which is the non-calculator section from past paper 5. Okay, let's take a look at question number 1. So for this question, what we need to do first of all is work out the fraction that are tea and coffee combined. So in other words, what is 2/5 plus 1/3? So when I'm adding together fractions, I'm going to do the crisscross smiley face method. So 2 times by 3 is 6, plus 1 times by 5 is 5, all over 5 times by 3, which is 15, so that is 11 over 15. So that means 11 out of the 15 drinks are tea or coffee, so the remainder of the 15 will be hot chocolate, and then 15 minus 11 is 4, so that is therefore 4/15. So let's just write that in the box there, so 4 out of 15 are hot chocolate. Question number 2, 13.4 multiplied by 5.2. So first of all, pretend they're not decimals. Let's just work out 134 times by 52. Okay, 2 4s are 8, 2 3s are 6, 2 1s are 2. This is the 5 of 50, so put in a 0. 5 4s are 20, 0 carry 2. 5 3s are 15, plus 2 is 17, 7 carry 1. 5 1s are 5, plus 1 is 6. Add these two together, 8, 6, 9, 6. So 134 multiplied by 52 is 6968. So what is 13.4 multiplied by 5.2? Well, it's going to be the same figures, or same digits, but we need to put a decimal point somewhere. What we need to do is, in the question, how many digits can you see after a decimal point? Not how many decimal points can you see, how many digits do you see after a decimal point? Well, there's one there, and there's another there. So in total in this question there are 2 decimal places, 2 numbers that appear after a decimal point. So therefore in our answer we need to put a decimal point so that there are 2 numbers or 2 digits after it. So 1, 2. So there's our answer, 69.68. B, use estimation to show a check of your working. So the question was 13.4 times by 5.2. Let's round these to one significant figure. So 13.4 will be to the nearest 10. So 10 times by 5.2 to the nearest unit, which is 5. 10 times 5 is 50. And 69.68 isn't a million miles away from 50. So we know we've got it correct. Okay, question number 3 is a little bit of a pain without a calculator. So what we've got in the spin column is 1 gap, and the yoga column 1 gap, cardio 1 gap, and the total column 1 gap. So we can easily work out these missing values here, 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 and here. So 230 people in total did spinning. Now we know that 107 are in this category and 38 are in that category. So how many of the 230 have we got? 107 plus 38 is 7 plus 8 is 15, carry 1, plus 3 is 4, 145. So what is 230 minus the 145? 3 becomes 2, so that becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5, and 22 take away 4. I tell you what, 2 becomes 1, this 2 becomes 12. 12 minus 4 is 8, 1 minus 1 is 0, so this number here is 85. I'll do the same for yoga. 170 plus 92 is 262, and 381 minus 262, 8 becomes 7, 11 take 2 is 9, 7 take 6 is 1, 3 takes 2 is 1, so that is a 119. And again, cardio, exactly the same thing we're going to do here. Going to add together 145 and 134, so that's a 972. And 389 take away 279 is 011, so that's 110. And for the total, we could either add these 3 digits. Actually, that might be easier than doing the same subtraction method. We obviously prefer adding to taking away. 107, 119, 134. 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 9 is 20, carry 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 360. And you might want to perform, now that we've put 360 in there, you might want to just add up that's supposed to be a 6, let me write that again, 360. If you add these together and get 1,000, that's normally enough confirmation that you've not made a mistake. Okay, so the two-way table is complete with those 4 missing values. What is the probability that the ticket he selects belongs to a person aged under 50 whose favourite class is cardio? So under 50 and cardio is these two, and in total there are 1,000. So out of the 1,000 we are interested in 145 plus 134. So what is 145 plus 134? I don't believe, yes, we've already done that, that's 279. So as a fraction, that is 279 out of 1,000, and that fraction can't be simplified, so that is the answer to the question. Okay, so for this question you need to print this out on correct size paper so that you can do the measurements. So this top bit is 7 centimeters here, this the height is 8 centimeters, and this is 12 centimeters along the bottom. Now 1 centimeter is 0.5 meters. So I'm going to multiply all of these by 0.5, and 0.5 is a half. So 1 centimetre is half a metre, so therefore 8 centimetres will be 4 metres. We're just halving these numbers. So 7 centimetres becomes 3.5 metres, and 12 centimetres becomes 6 metres. So we're going to paint this twice. Now this is a trapezium. The formula for the area of a triangle is a half of A plus B times H. So H is the height and A plus B are the parallel sides, which are these two sides here. So it's 1/2 times by 3.5 plus 6 multiplied by the height, which is 4. But we're painting it twice, so we must remember to double everything. Now, if we're halving it and then doubling it, well, we might as well just get rid of the halving and the doubling because they'll cancel each other out. 3.5 plus 6 is 9.5, so the calculation is 9.5 times by 4, so that's the same as 9.5 plus 9.5 plus 9.5 plus 9.5. 9.5 plus 9.5 is 19, so it's 19 plus 19, which is 38, and that is square meters. Dave will paint the wall twice. He thinks the total area that he needs to paint is greater than 30 meters squared. Dave is correct, as the area is 38 square meters, and that is of course greater than 30 square meters. And I believe that is the end of section A. Here are the video solutions for Pearson Edexcel Functional Skills Maths Level 2. This is section B, which is the calculator section, and this is paper 5. So let's take a look at the first question. We need to find the median. So we need to remember that the median is the middle value, but it's only the middle value when the numbers are put in order. So let's order them smallest to largest. So I've got 0. The next smallest is an 8, so I've got 3 8s. And then I've got a 10, then 13, 14, 2 15s and a 16. Now at this stage I'm just going to count how many values there are because it's very easy to miss one out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, because there are 10 values, that is an even number of values, so I'm not going to get one value in the middle. I'm going to get 2 values in the middle. You'll see what I mean in a second. So to locate the value or values in the middle, I'm going to cross one off the left and cross one off the right. I'm going to do that again, and again, and again. And as you can see, I've got 2 in the middle, and that's because there's an even number of values. So we either ask ourselves, well, what is halfway between 10 and 13? And if that is not obvious, what you can do is add the 2 numbers together and divide by 2. Basically, just take the mean of these 2 values. 10 plus 13 is 23, and 23 divided by 2 is 11.5, so the median is 11.5. Part B, find the mode. That is much easier. It's just which value occurs the most frequently, or which value is the most common. So if you look at the list, there aren't many values that repeat themselves. There's 2 15s, but there are 3 8s, so 8 is the mode, and that's the first question sorted. Right. Okay, so for this one we need to work out the total cost of the prizes last year, so that's going to be times by £27, and 15 times by 27 comes to £405. So if this year he's buying 18 prizes that cost the same amount of money, then we just need to work out, well, what's 405 divided by 18? And 405 divided by 18 is £22.50. Oops. Okay, right, for question number 3, so what we want to do here, because we've got number of people, some numbers, and number of TVs, some numbers, I think it's appropriate to do a scatter graph. So first of all, I'm going to write number of people. I'm just going to write number of people here, number of people, and up the side I'm going to put number of TVs. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 squares along the bottom, and we're going up to 6, so that's handy. So 2 squares can represent 1 person, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, you could have put the 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't really matter. I just like to maximise the graph paper, really. Don't like to have anything wasted. And number of TVs seems to go up to 5, so I think I can do the same thing here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we've got 3 people, 2 tellies. 3 people, 2 tellies. We've got a 5 and a 3. So 5, 3. 5, 4. 6, 4. 5, 5. 2, 1. 4, 3. And 2, 2. Okay, so there is our suitable scatter graph. Describe the relationship between the number of people and the number of TVs in a household. So I would be looking here for some kind of correlation. If you were to draw in a line of best fit, well, first of all, is it possible to draw in a line of best fit? Can you draw a line that cuts through the middle of the data, more or less keeping the same number of dots above and below the line, so that in such a way that the dots are as close as possible to the line? Well, yes, you can. You could probably draw a line something like that. And because this line goes upwards, we can see there is positive correlation. If the line was going down, it would be negative correlation. You could also give some context here. You could just say the more, or as the number of people increases, or the more people there are in a household, the more TVs they have. There we go. All right, let's move on here. So here we are just, we're increasing this amount by 1.7%. Okay, now this is the interest per year, and this is going to be invested for 3 years. So we're going to have to increase by 1.7% 3 times. So what's the multiplier for 1.7%? Well, 1.7%, the multiplier is 0.017. This figure divided by 100, the decimal equivalent of the percentage amount. Now this is the multiplier I would use if I was calculating 1.7% of an amount. If you want to increase by 1.7%, we need to add 1. So we would use 1.017. So this is the multiplier for a 1.7% increase. This is the multiplier just to calculate 1.7% of an amount. So the calculation is 2,500, and that's going to be multiplied by 1.017 3 times, or 1.017 cubed if you prefer. And what do we get? We get 2,629.679783. So I'd probably round it to the nearest pence. So 9 will turn that 7 into an 8. So I'll round that up to £2,629.68. Here is a cylinder. Using y is 11, calculate the area of the curved surface. So this is 11 and this is 33. Now the curved surface of the cylinder, if imagine this was a toilet roll and you were to make a cut here and you'd roll it out, it would be a rectangle. Now this rectangle would have a height of 11 and the well, the height of, sorry, the width of it would be the circumference of a circle. Now there are two formulae for the circumference of a circle: 2 pi r or pi d, and the reason there are two formulae is because, well, if you do 2 times a radius, that is a diameter. Now, given that I've got the diameter, I'm just going to use the pi d one here. Okay, so we've got pi, which is 3.14, times by the diameter, which is 33, multiplied by 11. So I should have said more clearly on this diagram here, it's a rectangle which is 11 high and 3.14 times a diameter of 33. So the area is this multiplied by this. This is what is going on here. And 3.14 times 11 times 33 comes to 1139.82. Okay, so the trapezium has one line of symmetry, so the only place this line of symmetry could be is here, which means that this side here is also 150 millimeters. So we just need to be careful here because we've got centimeters and millimeters. So in terms of centimeters, it's going to be 28 plus 45 plus, well, 150 millimeters divided by 10 is 15 centimeters because there's 10 millimeters in the centimeter, so plus 15 plus 15, or, so this is the centimeters one, or if it was millimeters, it's going to be 150 plus 150 plus 28 times by 10, which is 280, plus 45 times 10, which is 450. So you can see that the only option we've got is the millimeters one, which is option 4. Question 6, write 45% as a fraction in its simplest form. Well, you need to remember that percent means out of 100. So 45% means 45 out of 100, and we have a fraction, but just it's not in its simplest form. Looking at the numbers, you can see that they are both in the 5 times table. Divide the top by 5, you get 9. Divide the bottom by 5, you get 20. Can you simplify it again? No, you can't. So the answer is 9/20. Question B, this is just a question about bidmass. So we don't have any brackets, but we do have indices, 13 squared. 13 times by 13 is 169, so we can rewrite the question as 5 plus 169, and that's all over 11 take away 9.5. So what we need to do here, well, we do have adding and subtracting and division, but because this fraction line is extended all the way from before the 5 to the end of the 169, that means we have to do this calculation first, and 5 plus 169 is 174, and over 11 take away 9.5, and again this whole calculation, the whole calculation is under the line of the fraction. The minus 9.5 is not off to the side, so we need to do this bit next as well. So that is 174 divided by 11 take away 9.5 is 1.5. So the final calculation is 174. Remember, this line of a fraction means divide, divided by 1.5, and what do we get? We get 116. So for question number 7, we know that Kate is making biscuits using flour, butter and sugar in a ratio of 5 to 3 to 2. So what we need to do is work out which ingredient is going to be the one that limits the number of biscuits we can make. We know that she's got 800 grams of flour and she's got 550 grams of butter. So let's try and scale up this ratio. 5 multiplied by what gives us 800. In other words, what is 800 divided by 5? Well, that is 160. Okay, so in an ideal world, we would have 3 times 160 amount of butter. Well, let's just test this out as well. So if we're scaling the ratio, just looking at the butter from 3 to 550, well, again, let's do the same thing. What is 550 divided by 3? And 550 divided by 3 is 183.3. So what this means is we've got, well, the flour is what's going to limit the production of these biscuits here. Because we can only scale up this ratio 160 times. we can scale the butter bit up more, but then that would mean our recipe would not work because it would be too buttery, not enough flour. So what this means is we would, if we're multiplying this number by 160, we should multiply the butter by 160 as well. Well, we don't need to do this calculation, but just to try and clarify what's going on here, that would mean we would need 480 grams of butter. So if we're using 800 grams of flour, we need 480 grams of butter. We've got more than that, so we're just going to have about 70 grams left over. But we're interested in the sugar, so we need to scale this up 160 times as well, and 2 times by 160 is 320, so she needs 320 grams of sugar. So our final calculation was 2 times 160 equals 320, and if we're working this backwards, we could just do 320 divided by 2 equals 160, or 320 divided by 160 equals 2. Either of these would be acceptable. Okay, question number 8, the gym question. So offer A, quite easy to calculate, is just £44 times by 12 plus the joining fee of 30. 44 times 12 is 528, plus the 30 comes to 558. Option B, just paying per class, so it's £7.75 times 2 because she wants to go twice a week, times by 52 because there are 52 weeks in a year, takes us to £806. Okay, but the tricky bit is Lou thinks if she uses offer A, she will save at least 28%. Okay, so what we want to do is reduce £806 by 28%. Or just work out 28% of this amount and take that amount off. Now, if you're buying, let's say, a pair of trainers and it's 28% off, what percentage do you pay? You pay 100% minus 28%, which is 72%. So all we need to do is work out 72% of 806. That calculation is 0.72. I think I discussed percentage multipliers in an earlier question. 0.72 times by 806, that comes to £580.32. And that is still more expensive than 558. So this person, Lou, is correct. She will save at least 28%. Okay, we just can write here, Lou is correct. Okay, so question number 9, write down the coordinates of point A. So remember, we need to go across and then down. So we're going across to -7 and then down to -4. So the coordinates are -7, -4. Part B, on the grid, mark with a cross another point and join all 5 points to form a pentagon with one line of symmetry. Okay, so so what I've noticed is that B and A are in a straight line, as are C and D. C is 1 square down from B and D is 1 square up from A. So if I plot the 5th point somewhere over here, then the line of symmetry will be sort of halfway between A and B and halfway between D and C. So I'm going to count the gap between C and D. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to half that. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I can't plot the point here because well, that would just be a 4-sided shape. But if I were to plot it here, then I've now got, this is going to be a fairly poor, as I don't have a ruler. What we have here, again, absolutely shocking there. We do have a pentagon and the line of symmetry is on this line here. So that coordinate would work, 4, 1. In fact, so would 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1, 8, 1, and also 9, 1. Anything 1 from 4 to 9 would work here. So I'm just going to put here, there we go. So we just need to mark with a cross. So there we go, that's all we need to do. Mark across here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here, and we are done. Question number 10, Rav provides food for events. Last year, 550 people attended. This year, there will be 748. What is the percentage increase? Or to calculate percentage change, and when I say percentage change, that's for increase or decrease. Remember the formula, it's the difference divided by the original multiplied by 100. So the calculation is the difference, 748 take away 550, over what was it originally before it increased. So that was going to be the lower value here. Often it's the earlier point in time, so this is last year, which is before this year, times 100. 748 take 550 is 198. So 198 divided by 550 multiplied by 100, that is 36%. There we go, 36. Okay, question number 11 about Meg and her dog. So her dog weighs 29 pounds, so we need to turn 29 pounds into kilos. So we know that 1 kilo is 2.2 pounds, and we want to work out what 29 pounds is. Okay, okay, let's say if it was 4.4 pounds, this would be quite easy because we are doubling this number, then that would be doubling the 1 kilo to get 2 kilos. So what we need to do is think, well, how am I getting from, let me just write this again because it's a little bit scruffy now. So 1 kilo is 2.2 pounds. So what do you multiply 2.2 by to turn it into a 29? Well, the answer to that is, well, what is 29 divided by 2.2? And 29 divided by 2.2 is not a very nice number, is we're multiplying by 13.181818. So we need to multiply this side also by 13.181818, which will be 13.1818 kilos. So this is the weight of the dog in kilos. So it doesn't really matter the exact value. We know it's just above 13. So if it's just above 13, it is therefore a medium dog. So it needs to be fed 1 1/3 to 2 1/3 packs of food. Okay, so so Meg's got 24 packs. So how many? We need to work out, well, how much are we going to give the dog? Well, let's go with the lowest number. If we're dividing by the lowest number, then we can stretch out the maximum. Well, we want the maximum number of days. So I'm going to work out how many 1 1/3 go into 24 rather than how many 2 1/3 go into 24. Okay, because if the number of 2 1/3 that go into 24 will be less than the number of 1 1/3 that go into 24. So the calculation is now 24 divided by 1 1/3. Now I would turn the 1 1/3 into an improper fraction, a top-heavy fraction. That's 24 divided by 4/3. Let's just take the working up here. And remember that when you're dividing by a fraction, what you need to do is flip the fraction and turn it into multiplication. So 24 times by 3/4. So that's 24 times 3 divided by 4, and that comes to 18 days. So 18 days is the maximum number of days that she can feed that medium-sized dog. Okay, this question is quite similar to what we've just done, converting the weight. So we know that 1 metre is 3.28 feet, and she's got 78 feet of fencing. So how many times greater is 78 than 3.28? Well, 78 divided by 3.28 is our calculation, and that is 23.78 times more. So we need to multiply the 1 by 23.78, which is of course 23.78 metres of fencing. I'm going to assume that you can only buy fencing if you're buying it in metres, then I would round this to the nearest metre, and I'd always round it up rather than down. Well, I mean, not because this is closer to 24 than 23, but you want to have too much fencing than not enough, so I'd round that up to 24 metres of fencing. Okay, question number 12. This information in the table is just reproduced down here, so let's just scroll down. So what we need to do is to work out the mean number of spheres made, and we also need to work out the volume of a sphere. Even if you don't know where to go with this question, there's a reason why they've given you this formula. You need to use it. So if the diameter is 15, then the radius is going to be half of that, so 7.5. So the volume of one sphere is 4 multiplied by pi, so let's use 3.14, multiplied by the radius cubed, so 7.5 cubed, so 7.5 times 7.5 times 7.5 divided by 3, and that is 1766.25, and that is cubic millimetres. So that is the volume of one sphere. So how many how many spheres were produced in how many days was it? Did they mention that? Over the last 100 days. Okay, so the number of days here, this does add up to 100. So what we've got here is on 4 days, the machine produced between 210 rather, and 212. Well, that's a bit annoying because we don't know exactly what the number was. It could have been 210, could have been 212, could have been 211. What we're going to do is we assume that on these 4 days it was exactly halfway between 210 and 212, so that is 211. So here, this column is for the midpoint. So if on 4 separate days they produced what we estimate to be 211 spheres, that means the total in those 4 days would be 211 multiplied by 4, which is 844. So this is an estimated total because we can't guarantee that on the 4 days it was exactly 211. So this column here is for midpoint, this column here is for the estimated totals, which is the number of days multiplied by the midpoint. So the midpoint between 213 and 215 is 214, next one is 217, and the final one is 220. 32 times 214 is 6848. 53 times 217 is 11,501, and 11 times 220 is 2,420. So in 100 days, the total number, or the estimated total number of spheres produced is the addition of these 4 numbers, which is 21613. So per day, this is the estimated total for 100 days. Per day is going to be 21613 divided by 100, and that is 216.13 spheres produced. Okay, so now if this is the number of spheres produced, well, the estimated number of spheres produced in a day, and this is the volume of steel required for 1 sphere, then for all we need to do is multiply 216.13 by 1766.25, and that becomes a fairly horrible number, 381,739.6125, and we want it to the nearest thousand, so we're interested in the value in the hundreds column. It's a 7, greater than 5, so the 1 will round up to a 2, and everything after that will become a 0, so that becomes 382,000. 382, comma optional, 000 cubic millimeters. And there we go, and that is the end of section B.